Apple's next big product event set to take place on September 12th. Josh Lipton's in San Francisco. He'll tell us what we can expect. Hey, Josh.
Mel, the event will take place at Apple's new campus in Cupertino, specifically at the new Steve Jobs Theater. As you see here, the invite simply reads, "Gather round." So what should we expect at this event? Well, as always, we know Apple is going to be tight-lipped, but reports both from the media and the street indicate that 3 new iPhones could be on the way. A new high-end model with a 6.5-inch display. Just to put that in context, the iPhone X has a 5.8-inch display. So what's the advantage of such a big screen? I checked in with longtime Apple watcher Ben Beharin of Creative Strategies. He says it could lead to much richer gaming and entertainment experiences. In other words, potentially more engagement with Apple services. At most, Beharin guesses that Apple could charge $1,200 for such a device. Also expected an upgrade to the iPhone X, which has sold strongly, giving a lift to the company's revenue and stock price, and what some are calling a more budget-friendly iPhone with a 6.1-inch screen. It might not just be iPhones, though. Other hardware news could come in on September 12th as well. Beharin says he also expects a new watch, an iPad refresh, and updated AirPods. Melissa, back to you.
Now, Josh, you saw the invitation. It says gather round. Do you feel like that is a hint as to what sorts of products they might launch, or am I reading way too much into it?
I don't know. I don't think you're reading too much into it, Mel. As soon as we always get these invitations, there it is, the invite. I mean, the analysis quickly begins of what exactly perhaps Tim Cook and Phil Schiller and Eddie Q and the rest of the gang have up their sleeve. We're going to have to find out, though, on September 12th.
May I ask Josh a quick question?
Okay, fine.
Is that a new jacket? Because you look stunning. I mean, right? You got like look at him, man.
Oh, man. I just want you to know, I mean, if I'm Magnum, Guy Adami, you are always going to be my TC, buddy.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
I need you to know that.
Right on.
But what love here. All right, Josh, thank you. Josh Lipton in San Francisco. For more on what we can expect from Apple, let's bring in Loup Ventures founder Gene Munster. So, Gene, what are you expecting? Does the round mean anything to you?
It does, and we'll quickly talk about that. I think it misses the bigger point, but the round may be a slightly different crown on the Apple Watch, a slightly bigger screen, same general form factor, but the screen will go edge to edge on that. But they'll probably redesign that. There may be something around AirPods with round, but it's probably nothing really groundbreaking. And I want to emphasize that, just kind of jump into what's being missed in all of this. And as we talk about all these different products and 3 phones, and I think Josh did a good job of hitting on it, this bigger phone, we talk about a 6.5-inch versus 5.8, that I think gets missed on why this can be a huge product. And I think that this is going to lay the groundwork for upside to iPhone numbers for the next 12 months. And the reason why is that displays do matter. This display is going to be 32% bigger display size versus the biggest iPhone today, 32. Now, the last time we had this kind of a large display increase was in 2015, fiscal 15, when the iPhone 6 came out, and that was 34% bigger than the iPhone 5S, so 32 versus 34. What happened to iPhone demand in fiscal 15 was shocked everyone. It went from 13% growth for the iPhone 5S, and it jumped to 37%. People love big phones. Now, the headwind and the immediate pushback is going to be, this is really expensive phones, $1,200. And that's true. But keep in mind, the street's looking for flat growth. I think you're going to see 5%-ish type of growth, and any upside to growth is going to be inspiring for the Apple bulls.
Okay, so the ASPs go up. What do margins do in response? Do they stay the same? Did they go up? Did they go down?
Typically, they stay the same.
Okay.
They typically do. You usually see a little bit of compression, then they start to rebound.
All right. In terms, do we get to a point, Gene, ever, when a larger display doesn't necessarily mean more people want it? It sounded like your argument
eventually
for this being a game changer, for this being a reason to upgrade, is that it's simply because it's bigger.
Yes, I think people are using their phones for more things, and it's kind of ironic because if you looked at the iPod world, we kind of went smaller and smaller and smaller. And in the phone worlds, because we're doing more and more things that typically weren't done on smartphones now, it's almost mini computers, so I think that there is room. Now, at some point, you're going to hit bump up close to an iPad mini, and that's too big. But I think that there's definitely room for, especially thinking the emerging markets. What we saw with the iPhone 6 is that was particularly appealing with people who had a single device. And so I think that I'm not suggesting we're going to jump to 15 or 20% growth because of this. But what I am suggesting is the street's missing the point, that this is going to be a big deal when they see, when consumers start to get their hands on this larger form factor.
All right, Gene, we're going to leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us. Gene Munster of Loup Ventures. Is this going to do the trick, Dan?
Well, you asked a good question. You said that as ASPs are going to stay higher because they're going to have these higher price points. But here's the thing. iPhone units have not grown in years. Okay, so in the last quarter, in the June quarter, iPhone units grew 1%. Although sales, total revenues, were up 20% year over year. So they're getting more. But here's the one thing that I think when Gene says that investors aren't getting, we're also seeing massively elongated upgrade cycles. Because if the only thing that you can do,
people wait longer to
waiting longer to upgrade, you know. But that being said, I think the higher ASPs at this stage, 10 years into the cycle, are showing you that they pulled a great trick with their iPhone upgrade plan by getting people to basically do a prime service where you're just paying $37 or $40 a month, that sort of thing. People are not so focused on that $1,000 or $1,200 price tag anymore.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, the larger form factor, I mean, I find that a little bit interesting when you consider that one of the reasons I think people moved to the iPhone 10 off of the 7 and 8 Pluses was because that's a really big device to carry around. I mean, I'm speaking from my point of view, too big to put in my pocket. I don't have an interest in a larger phone. I'm perfectly comfortable with the size of the iPhone 10. The other reason I think that we're seeing those longer, basically, periods of time before people upgrade is because of the higher ASPs. If you're spending $1,000 or so, there is a limit to affordability. At which point, exactly right. And you know, you're going to see kids, for example, that also want to get. They're the ones that usually are prompting their parents for the immediate upgrade. I think parents usually can sit and wait a little bit longer. I'm curious to see what happens on the watch side, though, because I think that is an area where we haven't really found that those smartwatches are so appealing that we have to have one.
But the features need to improve. Exactly. It doesn't just have to become a round edge-to-edge display. I mean,
that's right. It's not an issue of what the thing looks like. It's how it works. And if they can improve that, actually, I could see more people, myself included, potentially moving in that direction.
And what it does. I mean, if you can track your health better, then that might be a reason to get
100%. And I think also with the phone, I mean, the introduction of a larger screen phone, whatever, but the ASP going up, they're entering markets with lower income sort of people where they have to absolutely have to have margin pressure, in my opinion. With competition coming in, I just can't imagine that the lower income nature of some of these emerging markets that they're entering into is going to be markets that are going to explode for them.
Real quick, the only thing you need to know, in my opinion, after everything that's said, Warren Buffett, the greatest value investor of all time with Becky today, said he bought more Apple. So if he thinks it's cheap, who am I to argue with him?